Hello, Planet Earth. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're at IDK, my BFF Jill 730. I'm Preston L. Young, wishing you warm salutations and congratulations as always. You've made your way to the Buffington Post. You may have noticed that we're back in the cemetery because we are getting back to where we need to be in the Buffyverse. That's right, today I'll be continuing my Season 9 coverage of the Buffyverse with our pit stop to talk about the third arc in the verse. So let's just jump right into it. It's the Buffington Post presentation for our third pit stop of Season 9 to talk about what's at stake in the Buffyverse.
One world, we're living in one world.
We all in this together now. Uptown, I see a lot of brothers and sisters, young and old, living on the street. You and I, we getting by, sharing the world no matter who we meet. Yeah. We all living in a world of many faces. Lots of people trying to find the right places. We all living in a world of many faces. One big family in the making.
One world, we're living in one world.
You got it going now.
One world, we're living in
You and I, we looking to make it better now.
one world. We're living in one world.
You got it going now.
This is the day when our dreams go forever.
One world, one world.
One world, we're living in one world.
You got it going now.
This is the day when our dreams go forever. One world, we're living in.
Okay, so I've decided to break this down into character, and I want to start off by talking about Nadira. Now, Nadira, one of the things that we can really admire about the character is that we know what she cares about. She cares about being the Slayer, and she cares about her Slayer sisters. And she is a really good mirror for Faith in that being the Slayer isn't exactly what she thought it would be, very much because of Buffy. Buffy came along and destroyed magic, and with that she took away Nadira's purpose, very much in the way that Faith came to Sunnydale and Buffy was kind of like, oh no, this is my town. And so what we see with Nadira in this particular arc is her being angry and lashing out, but Willow coming along and saying, hey, you know, I feel you, I get it, like I'm hurting too, and that's okay. And she and Faith have this conversation where Faith says, look, you know, it sucks and life can be better, but I need you to hang out with your Slayer sisters. And where we leave Nadira at the end of this arc is, once again, some of her Slayer sisters have been slain, and it's because of, she thinks, Angel, just like the root of her other problems. And so, looking at Nadira and her motivations throughout the season is really going to be very interesting, particularly as we move forward. Now, also in London, we've got Whistler, Pearl, and Nash, and these are characters that we still don't know a whole lot about. Now, we've known Whistler for quite some time, but really all we know is that he's some ancient demon sent down to kind of, you know, keep the balance between good and evil. We don't know much about him other than that. He's buddy-buddy with Angel, and he was kind of pulling Angel's strings to make Twilight occur, and we see in this arc that he has some untold power that we have not been made privy to, and that's just not been explained, but definitely keep an eye on Whistler, Pearl, and Nash. We will learn a lot more about Pearl and Nash as the season progresses as well, but right now we are still just kind of like, where are we going with these villains in Angel and Faith? Faith, it seems like she doesn't really have a whole lot to do within the third arc of Season 9, but she's really there to be a voice of reason. And again, Faith, as Willow said, has really grown up. She is looking at the world, and she is not stake-happy, reacty Faith that we've come to know and love. She really is thinking about things in a very mature manner, and we have our characters looking at her and really respecting her for the first time, really ever. She's not really on board with this whole bringing Giles back to life thing, but she does believe in Angel. She has faith in Angel, and that's really important. And she is being told by Angel that, hey, we're almost done with this, but what does that mean? is Faith really ready to have Giles back? And is Giles really what they're going to bring back? She goes into Kortoth, and all of these kind of angry emotions bubble to the surface because of what Kortoth is. And for Faith to realize that it's not her, like it was her, that used to be her, but now it's just this place, and she can really say this is this and that is that. And it's really important for the Faith character to be able to do that, because we need to respect her as much as we do a character like Buffy or a character like Spike. We see these shades of gray in Faith, and she's really able to discern those different shades of gray for herself for really the first time, as I said. She just went through all of this stuff with her father, and then she's looking at Angel and his son, and on the one hand, she really appreciates what Angel is willing to do for his son, the idea that he's willing to throw away this whole mission in order to protect Connor. It really inspires Faith, but at the same time, it does remind her of what she's missing, that family. And I think it's really important to understand that Angel is some of Faith's own family now, and Angel is trying to bring back Giles. And what's really interesting is what's going on with Angel, and the fact that he and Faith are connecting in such a way, and part of it might be because Angel kind of is Giles. He's got these different parts of Giles' soul within him. And so looking at Faith and the way she's going to deal with the rest of what's going on, particularly with Nadira, and the fact that Giles is growing within Angel, is going to be really nice. And we're going to get to see a lot more of Faith because, hey, she's half the book. So we've also got Kennedy, and Kennedy, I can't say enough good things about Kennedy in the comic book. She runs her mouth a little bit too much, but she never says anything that isn't really true. Kennedy is there to be a voice for us, to say, look, Buffy, you deserve these things. And she has created this wonderful space to allow for women to have an outlet for all of this power that, again, they don't have anywhere to point at. And we see with Kennedy that the world goes on, and she helps Buffy to see that the world does go on. And Buffy chooses not to go about it in the same way that Kennedy does, but she doesn't fault Kennedy for what she's doing. We can actually look at Kennedy and say, you've done something good, not only for yourself, but for others. And it's not the right path in life for everyone, but it is definitely a viable option. And the reason that it's such an option for her is because she has Dowling. We have Dowling, who has created this vampire task force, and the San Francisco PD, as I'm sure many other police departments, are getting hip to the fact that, hey, magic is not real anymore, but these things are real. These things that go bump in the night, they are there, and we can bump right back as long as we organize and prepare ourselves. And so what's going on with Dowling and the rest of the human community is allowing for Buffy to look at her life, to step back and say, what's important to me? And that is a really lovely thing for the human world to be able to do for Buffy for once. Now, we've also got Connor in this arc, and what he really does is remind us that there are young people in this world who know about everything wrong with it and everything that can be right with it. And Connor is there to reassure Willow that what she's doing is the right thing, but he's also there to make Angel feel guilty. But he also won't allow for Angel to feel guilty. He, like so many other people in Angel's life, for the entirety that we've known the character, is saying, give yourself a break. It's just like Cordelia said to Angel, you're the one trying to save everybody in the world, but you are a person in the world. And Connor accepts that about Angel. He doesn't love the way that Angel's gone about, ignoring him and trying to protect him or whatnot, but he really does see Angel for what he is and the sacrifices that he has made. And it's just really nice to see that Connor has grown up to be a nice, well-adjusted young man that we can leave and just assume that he will be okay, because for the longest, that was not an option in Connor's life. He didn't have that kind of dawn, everything's, possible for you life. He really didn't have that. Angel gave him that, but now that that's kind of been taken away, it's fine. Connor is making it work, and his relationship with Angel is hopefully going to only improve from here. And we haven't really seen Connor since, but we, like I said, can assume that he's alive and well and doing good for himself and others. Now, we've also got Ko, and during the first arc, we really didn't know what to do with Ko. We didn't know what to think of him or make of him. We just know that he has this life debt. And what's admirable and at the same time really short-sighted about Ko is his Natobi code, and he feels like he has to live up to honor this thing, right? He feels almost like Buffy does in the Guarded storyline. She feels like she has to go out and keep slaying, and she finds that, oh, maybe that's not the case. And Ko here, he feels like he has to go out and get this vengeance. He has to do this duty and have this honor, or his life is meaningless. And he and Buffy are a great way to mirror one another. Neither of them can really let go of this nagging feeling that they have, that something is missing, that they haven't righted their wrongs. And he, like Buffy, like Angel, like Willow, he's trying to put things right, to get his life straight, and it's just not working out the way that he wanted to. But again, he's a great mirror for Buffy in that way. Willow. Willow is not a happy camper, and she hasn't been a happy camper since the end of season 8, and there are all of these really great reasons why she shouldn't be jumping for joy about everything, but at the same time, we're able to look at Willow and see what's wrong. She's opened our eyes to the fact that new art isn't being made. It's not just magic, but it's inspiration, that thirst for life and that connection between not only the other worlds, but the connection between individuals within our world is what Willow sees is missing, and she needs to get that back. She needs to have that inspiration. She needs to be able to believe and have this kind of faith again, and she lashes out at Angel, and Angel lashes out at her, and we see that these characters are both trying to do the impossible, and by the end, they respect each other, trying to break the status quo and say, no, things can be the way that they were. We just have to do these really kind of ishy things in order to make it that way. Now, Nathan and I were talking in the comment section of my Angel and Faith number 14 video about why we have Dark Willow in Kortoth. And you have to understand that Willow has gone months without magic. And sure, she came to this wonderful place of light and purity and acceptance and this kind of lack of fear at the end of season 7, but recovery is not a one and done thing. Magic is color. It's colorful. It's not white. It's not black. It's everything in between. It's all encompassing, and Willow cannot be white or black. She has to be Willow the Red, as Alwyn refers to her. She comes into Kortoth and she is so excited to have her magic back, and she assumes that having magic makes her powerful and therefore kind of infallible. She, like the audience, expects for Willow to just be okay, but the magic that she's using is dark, and it's been a while since Willow has really been able to use any kind of magic, and so when it creeps in and gets the better of her, she's afraid of herself because she has to deal with this struggle for the rest of her life. If you want to look at magic like a heroin addiction, look at Willow, look at her. When she gets it back in her, she cannot help herself. And at the same time, she can, because magic isn't this or that. Angel says, you can do this, and he allows for her to believe in herself, which is what the Willow character is all about. Buffy comes along and tells Willow, seize the day. You can be whatever you want to be. Look at me. I'm not what I'm supposed to be, and why should you be? And Willow really takes that to heart. Buffy inspires her, and now we get Angel to come along and inspire Willow, because Willow, she looks at other people and she sees that she can be strong. She wants to be strong, and that for the audience is great because we want to be strong just like Willow is. And it's not just about being strong, it's about being wise. And Angel is really one of our wisest characters. However ill his motivations may come across or his actions, he really has lived a very long life, and he can speak to Willow because he's gone through and is constantly going through what she is when she has that darkness within her. And so I'm really happy for Willow. She is going to finally get things back to the way that they should be. But yeah, it's great to remind the audience that Willow is constantly struggling with this addiction, if you will. This part of herself isn't going to go away, but that doesn't make it a bad thing. It's just a part of who Willow is. And Angel has gone on this really weird journey so far, and it's not done by far. He's now got Nadira hunting after him, and he's just finally gotten back to kind of getting to know his son. And this arc is really great for Angel because he gets to be the strong one who is in charge and really is trying to be a father to Connor and be a friend to Faith. And when he and Faith butt heads, they realize this. And just like with Willow, Angel is able to talk to Faith, and he again is wise enough to not take everything that Faith is saying so personally. And again, we've got Angel, and he has these pieces of Giles within him, and he's already fighting with his darkness all the time, and he's fighting with it a lot in Kortoth. And now these parts of Giles are accumulating within Angel, and the identity crisis that Angel is kind of always dealing with is only going to get more complicated as we move throughout season 9. And the lengths to which Angel is willing to go to accomplish his goals, going into hell, biting Willow, taking on Giles, like literally taking Giles all upon himself in this very literal way. It's allowing us to kind of forgive Angel for everything that happened in Twilight. And again, just like Willow says, we're never going to really forgive him for breaking the Buffyverse, but at the same time, he's Angel, and he's just Angel. This is what he does. He messes up, he atones, or at least he tries, and we keep going. And it's going to be a really neat ride for Angel throughout the rest of the season, so stay tuned. And finally, we have Buffy, our hero, and she's trying to be a hero, and it doesn't really work out for her. Buffy started off the season, and she had created a new world for herself, and she was really trying to figure out how she was going to fit into it. And it wasn't necessarily easy, but it was easier for her to do from an outside perspective like Willow's than it has been for characters like Willow. The meta of season 9 is really lovely when it comes to the Buffy character herself. She literally broke the Buffyverse at the end of season 8, and at the beginning of season 9, she was trying to put the pieces back together, or at least see what pieces still fit together without magic in the mix. And she felt like she had done this really great thing, even though Willow wasn't too happy about it, and she's looking around her and she's seeing Xander and Dawn. They go on living their lives and they seem to be normal and okay. And then she finds out, oh, I'm a fucking robot. And that speaks to the book, okay? This is the meta of season 9. Buffy in season 8 went about trying to be a comic book. And it decided that the only way to do that is to get rid of the magic that made the show what it is. And so Buffy comes along in season 9, and she's trying to figure out where she fits. And just like the book, she is going through the motions. She is this robot. And the perception of the book is, okay, we've got no magic, but we've got all of these characters, and they're still just kind of on autopilot seeing what works in the world, but the world just doesn't work. And all of this is fallout from Twilight. All these first 3 arcs are really the fallout from Twilight, and Buffy coming to terms with that and she goes into deep scan because she needs to be herself and she needs to figure out what's available to her. What are her options now that she's back in her body and Buffy the Vampire Slayer? And she goes into the workforce because she looks around her and she sees that the humans are really taking care of themselves. And she decides, okay, I'm going to try and be a part of this thing that Kennedy's created for me. But at the end of the day, she's looking at Ko and she sees that he's not willing to give up this code, this honor system that he has. And she's looking at Theo Daniels and she sees, okay, yeah, he destroyed this connection, but he's okay. He's happy with being who it is that he is. And she finally is able to step back and look at herself and say, I did something, and that's fine, but that doesn't change who I am. I am the Slayer. And it's at this point that Buffy is done, completely done worrying about the fallout from Twilight. Like, that's not the issue. We have season 9 to talk about Twilight and the glamorization of vampires, but look at what's been going on in season 9. This whole time, we were thinking about Twilight and vampires and harmony, but really the zombie craze at this point has taken over. We've got The Walking Dead, we've got Zombieland, we've got all of these zombie-tastic movies coming out and television shows and comic books, and Buffy was so wrapped up in Twilight that she didn't even think about dealing with the zombie craze, and that, again, is part of the meta of Season 9. We need to now be the Slayer and deal with the zompires because they are going to be our real threat for the rest of Season 9. And this is all just really lovely meta stuff. We'll go way into the meta when we get at the end of Season 9, but it is important to say, hey, the vampire craze, it was all going strong, that's great, but it kind of fizzled out. And then the zombie craze came along, and Buffy was so wrapped up in Twilight that she's been ignoring the zompires. And here we go. It's time to really deal with them in Arc 4. So, that's pretty much all I've got for you guys today. What have you thought about the third arc of the Buffyverse Season 9? Let me know down in the comment section below. I'm Preston L. Young. You can come right back here to the Buffington Post anytime for Buffy the Vampire Slayer reviews, Angel and Faith reviews, Buffyverse discussions on the other Slayers, my continued Season 9 coverage, and more. Next, we are going to move into Wonderland. We're going to try and bring magic back, and we're also going to meet Billy the Vampire Slayer. We're going to meet a succubus. We are going to deal with bugs. It's going to be crazy, but that's a story for another day. Have a great day today, and we'll see you next time.